Tranquil bays on a forested island, then the flag of Vanuatu fluttering in the blue sky. Local kids dive into a river and play on a homemade seesaw. A phone company has nailed a "Top Up Here" sign to a tree in a village of grass huts. Men are working on a riverbank while a child sips from a green coconut and women chat on the shore of a turquoise pool. Local men try to winch up a ute teetering on the edge of a bridge, and bare-chested kids play in a lagoon and build a fire in a yard. Vanuatu is my home country. I love it very much. It's a paradise. We have sand beaches, the bush. It's full of friendly people, smiley people. But even though we are a paradise, we have some difficulties that we are facing. On screen, Pikinini Tok Tok, Voices of Children with Disability, Vanuatu. Carlo James from Save the Children says, "My name is Carlo James. I work with the Voices of Children with Disabilities."
Good man. You can see by his face, his heart, that he doesn't go for money. He wants to change lives of children with disabilities. And these children should be heard, and they should have that opportunity to be heard.
Nellie Caleb. Carlo says, "My passion in life is to help children with disability, to help them have a good life and live freely within their community." Carlo's riding in a ute, holding a pink carton of crayons in his hand. He says, "The main part of my work is to listen to the children, to hear their hopes and dreams." The ute crosses a shallow, swiftly flowing river. Carlo continues, "The findings we gather will help the government and the NGOs provide better services for children with disabilities, particularly in remote areas."
Provide them better services for beginning with them disability in remote areas.
Driving along a forest track, the ute passes a wandering cow. Outside a hut, there's a makeshift wheelchair made from a canvas chair mounted on a handcart. A little girl called Vanessa joins Carlo in the parked ute and pretends to drive. Carlo says, even though she has a disability, Vanessa enjoys life. She's energetic and enjoys school. She makes her community happy and has visitors all the time. Vanessa playfully toots the car horn. A cat licking its kitten outside Vanessa's hut. She says, "My name is Vanessa. I'm 8 years old. I don't have sisters, only brothers." She poses happily with her extended family. "I've got Grandad, I've got Mum. I like rice. I like being in my house." Carlo says, "I've developed some tools or activities to listen to children with disability." Vanessa tips out a box of crayons, then draws with chalk on the floor. Carlo says to her, "I'll swap you yellow for blue." "What do I draw?" "What picture do you want to draw?" Sketching, Vanessa says, "With Carlo, I draw a tree after a duck, after a truck." Carlo explains, she likes to draw a truck because one day she wants to have a truck to transport her to school. Vanessa's little bare feet rest on the floor of the handcart as a man pulls it along. Vanessa says, "I can't walk. It's hard for me to breathe, so Dad pushes me 1 hour to school. He pulls me through the water." Her father steps into the rushing river ahead of the cart near the ruins of a fallen bridge. He says, "Many parents in Vanuatu reject their children if they are disabled, but when people in my community see how I love Vanessa, they often learn to love their own children despite the disability. No one loves their child more than my wife and I." Water laps over Vanessa's feet as her father drags the floating cart across the river. She looks up with a patient smile. Her black hair is braided in strands along her scalp. Reaching the far side of the river, her father pulls the cart onto the stony bank and makes his way up the sloping track beyond. They reach the gate of the small school. Vanessa says, "School is important. I learn plenty of things. When I'm a big girl, I want to be a teacher for children with disabilities. Children play outside the schoolhouse. At home, Vanessa's brothers crowd around her wheelchair cart and the kitten peeps over the edge as it hitches a ride. Vanessa's sitting on a wooden bench with some other kids and some elders while her grandfather dances for them with leafy branches in the waistband of his shorts and wooden poles in his hands. Vanessa says, "I have lots of friends in the community who help me." Sitting in a row, the children grin as the old man finishes his dance. An evening haze over forested plains and distant hills. Carlo's driving back down a mountainside at sunset. The Utes' headlights gleam brightly along the dark shore of a rippling body of water. In sunlight, a sign that reads, Vanuatu Society for Disabled People. One of the staff, Dunstan Rehai, wheels his own chair to the office. He says, "I think that my contribution to society for children with disability will be a challenge to try their best and themselves offer something back." Dunstan visits a classroom of kids colouring in. He continues, "I'd like to take this opportunity to say that you can always advocate and bring awareness to help the future of children with disability."
So that low future isabi helpe mo Pikinini low future lo kita isabi.
A little girl pushes his chair while a small boy rides on the front. He says, "Alineth is blind. She was born with this disability. The first time I visited, I think she was glad to meet me." A corrugated tin hut with a grass roof. Inside, a little girl is washing vegetables. She says, "My name is Alineth. I like to help my mother with the cooking. I like my house. We have a cat, but I'm afraid of it. I don't like dogs. We had a chicken, but somebody ate it. I like eating banana and rice. I like Carlo visiting me. I like him because he works with me." Helping her with a puzzle, Carlo asks, "You feel the shape?" She fits the puzzle piece and he says, "Very good. Last one. Nearly almost there."
Finish.
He holds out a bag and she takes out a ball with a bell inside. He says, when she takes something from the bag, she describes it in detail as though she can see it. Next, she takes out a coconut, a mango. Carlo says, "Good." Alineth's mother, Pamela, says, "My dream for the future is to be able to have special teachers at school to help children with disability to learn more." Alineth helps her mother carry water to the house. She says, "When I grow up, I want to become a teacher. I'll make school bags for all the children and hang them outside." Carlo bends down to squeeze Alineth tightly on his way out. He hunches over as he steps out into the rain. After the downpour, a dog sitting outside has its brown fur matted with rainwater. Alineth picks her way across the damp yard, then, with a pensive expression, holds out her small hand with its palm facing upwards, catching the drips. Offshore, a lone island beneath storm clouds. Carlo says, "When my wife gave birth to our child in hospital, I ran in and the first thing I did was to check the hands to see if the fingers were like mine, but she was normal. I was very glad." He cuddles his toddler as he pegs washing on a line. The way I treat the children I work with is the same as I treat my own children at home. I'm respectful and create a playful environment. I work hard to build a strong relationship with them. I enjoy my time in the communities, spending time with the kids. Carlo sitting with a boy on a woven grass mat. As the boy draws with crayons, Carlo says, "The colour green. Okay, good." The boy has drawn 3 people and labelled the picture, "My Family." Now Carlo's grinning as he rides, standing up on the back of the ute. In a small community on a peninsula, Carlo's with a boy called Louis, who's lying on the ground, picking at the sandy dirt with his forefinger. Carlo asks, "What's that?" "One shell." He moves it out of the way and says, "Let's draw one apple." Louis says, "It's hard for me to write or draw on paper with a pen. It's easier for me to lie down and draw in the sand." The letter P.
Oh, P. Letter P, maybe. Letter P.
Louis says, Carlo visits and... Carlo pushes a double stroller through the garden. Louis says, "Carlo visits and we play. He's a good man." Louis's father, Fred, says, "Louis likes Carlo very much. Carlo is the first person to visit Louis and work with him." Carlo asks, F for flag or for Vanuatu. Fred says, Carlo shows him many pictures. I'm surprised by how well he learns. He can give names to many things he has never seen. Louis says, a big fella plane with a small plane behind it. He says, I want a truck to drive to school. When Fred pushes the stroller, there's another boy in it too. Louis says, I like riding in the buggy with my brother. Dad pushes us around. At their feet is a travel pillow with the emblem of New Zealand on it. Fred treads slowly and carefully as he pushes the boys down to the edge of a lagoon, where he wades into the water carrying the thin frame of Louis's body. Louis says, I like swimming in the salt water. I practice my leg movements. Fred holds Louis's waist, and under the greenish water, the little boy's feet kick and pump. Above the water, Fred chuckles and Louis beams from ear to ear. Fred dips the grinning Louis underwater, then carries him back to his brother on the shore. Fred says, when my boys became disabled, the community had some negative reactions, but now things are better. We are kind of role models for the community. If you have a disabled child, you must love them and not neglect them. Treat them as you would anyone else. Carlo runs behind the stroller, speeding it through the garden. Another child plays with a toy steering wheel in the grass, then stands alongside Carlo in the back of the ute, holding onto its frame. Vanessa's brothers push and pull her handcart wheelchair between them, and other local kids watch the river rushing by. A girl presses her hand over her heart, and Aleneth in her garden holds her palms out to catch raindrops. Some kids watch a man in a wheelchair performing on a stage with a painted backdrop, and a woman with foreshortened arms pushes her own wheelchair and grins behind her office desk. More smiling faces of children all over Vanuatu. Carlo stands on a sandy shore, letting the waves wash over his bare feet. He says, my hope and dream for the future is that all children with disability will be respected and loved, able to fully participate in their communities. A golden sunset over the ocean. Director Casimir Burgess. Producer Elena Jenkin. Executive producers Matthew Clark and Erin Wilson. Music composed by G. Telek, the Williams Brothers, Dee Bridie and Jay Phillips. For further information, visit www.voicesofchildrenwithdisability.com.